Okay, here we are in the kitchen. So let's say you planted a huge amount of asparagus. Enough for like a restaurant that specializes in asparagus. And then all of this asparagus starts growing during a very busy time of your life, like lambing season. Or say you signed up for the CSA box for 4 and then things got busy, or you went on vacation, or the kids went to camp, or kids don't eat vegetables anyway, so I don't know how that would impact anything. But say you have a glut of vegetables and no time to cook or eat them. So that's kind of what we are in right now. Our asparagus bed is producing like crazy. I'm having to cut every day. Which is amazing, but we're obviously not like lingering over meals right now, because if I'm gonna linger over anything, it's like sleeping. Also, our magnolia tree is blooming. Anyway, that is kind of an aside. My solution to this problem is quick pickles, or I love a pickle. I love a salty snack. I love a cocktail garnish. I love a pickle tray. I am from the Midwest. So that's how we manage all of this. Back when we had a CSA box, I pickled a lot of things. Carrots and sugar snap peas. Sugar snap peas are so delicious pickled. You skewer those babies on a toothpick and put them in a martini, call it a day. Anyway, so I have developed my own lazy woman's methods to pickle all this. And keep in mind, I'm talking refrigerator pickles here. I'm not talking something canned that you're going to store in your cellar and eat next year. Like, this is not, you can't do any lazy techniques for something like that, something that you're planning to keep for a long time. And another nice thing about pickling in this instance, like for the asparagus, is that it doesn't take a huge amount of work or a huge amount of effort. And if you have something where you're harvesting a vegetable, you're getting a little bit every day, you can pickle 1 jar at a time. No big deal. It doesn't take any time at all. Obviously, I'm doing it, so it has to be easy, right? Today I wanted to pickle some asparagus. I also wanted to try pickled magnolia blossoms. They're supposed to taste like ginger. So I picked some that were like this, like kind of just after bud form. That's what I picked today. So if you're gonna eat them raw, just in this state, the buds, my understanding is that the buds are the best choice. So it has like a spicy, it's like a ginger / allspice flavor. That's what I'm getting there. So my plan is to put these in kind of a sweet pickle and use them in some like Japanese cooking. So I guess I'll start with these since they're simple. So I am just going to, I don't know if you have to do this, but I am going to pull the petals off the main part of the flower. Because I'm not sure about this. I don't know. So I'm putting my petals in this jar. So after I picked these sort of younger petals, I did read that, here's a whole bud. I did read for pickling purposes, you can use older petals. Oh, I washed these. I rinsed them earlier today. Okay, so the ways that I make pickling a lazy woman's activity is that I try to reduce every pickle recipe into its very basic components, because I always feel like you find a recipe for pickling and it's always like 1 pound of green tomatoes, 1 cup of vinegar. And it's like, I don't have a pound of tomatoes, right? I got 2 pounds, or I got 1 tomato, or, whatever. It's like, okay, well, this is not working for me. And how big is your jar and how tightly packed is it? Because that's going to make a big difference on how much brine you need. So there's all of that kind of makes it like, oh, what do I do here? And then there's the like cook it on the stove until the salt dissolves and then let it cool. And it's like, who has time for that? To be fair, I did it today because I was making this video and I wanted you all to think that I had my act together. But I mean, I think that's a stretch. So the ways that I manage that when I don't have time or I'm caught off guard, or I look in the refrigerator drawer and find that like, oh no, the whatevers are on the turn and they need to be preserved or composted. So the way I manage this is, number one, you can microwave the brine to dissolve the salt or sugar. But the ultimate lazy pickling method is to put all the things in the jar. Water, vinegar, salt, sugar, whatever. Call it a day. Put it in the fridge. Then the next time you're looking in the refrigerator to find something to eat, you see the pickle jar and you're like, oh, I gotta shake it. And then you shake it. I mean, that's kind of it. Even if I had time, that is how I always make my pickled radishes, which are a particular favorite. There's a lot of rules about preserving pickles. Follow those. But for refrigerator pickles, I say like, do what you can do here, right? It's hard to mess up a pickle. What if it's not like salty enough? Just add salt. Like, I don't know. So back to what I was saying about reducing it to its part. I just figure out the salt to water to vinegar ratio that you need, and then that becomes like a one building block, and then you can mix up as much of that as you need. And if you don't mix up enough, just mix up more. And if you don't mix up enough, just top it off with more vinegar. Like, who knows? It'll always be good. And another thing is that many refrigerator pickle recipes say that the pickles are good for some amount of time. In my experience, preserving things in vinegar and keeping them refrigerated preserves them for a long time. So just keep that in mind. Like, you're not making pickles that you're gonna have to eat all this week. I don't know. If you've got that refrigerator in the garage, it's like half full of beer, fill it the other halfway full with pickles. Okay, so this is what I have, are my 2 1-cup jars that are packed with magnolia petals. And I pre-made a brine for this. The brine for this is 1 cup of rice vinegar and 2 tablespoons of sugar. I wanted this to be sweet. I did see recipes for magnolia petals that had salt and garlic, but I was going for like pickled ginger situation. So I'm just gonna pour. Okay, I'm just gonna pour it off camera because it's too hard. So this brine, oh, see, I didn't make enough. Okay, so obviously you want the petals to be submerged in the brine. And my second jar only has, it's hard to see, but it's only filled to about there. So, okay, so I'm just gonna knock up another batch of that. So if you remember that my base mix for this pickle was 1 cup of rice vinegar to 2 tablespoons of sugar, then for me to make half that much, I feel I should, it's just an example. I don't think that you can't figure that out, right? So what I'm putting together now is just 1/2 cup of rice vinegar and 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm gonna mix them up in this pan. I'm not gonna heat this. So 1 tablespoon sugar. This is gonna be really sweet. This might be a mistake. It's my first go. It's part of the reason that I didn't pick more flowers. I wonder if these could be like freeze dried to be put on top of cake. I love this idea. Made a beautiful spice cake with like the naked frosting and then like decorated with these beautiful petals. Amaze. I love this idea. I want it for my birthday party. Not that I've ever had a birthday party. Since we're not sealing these, we can absolutely reuse lids. And there they are. So Yeah, it's so pretty. You know, if these are good, wouldn't they make a beautiful gift, like in a half cup container and like a gift basket? Oh God. I love a gift basket. I give gift baskets all the time and I almost never receive them. So think on that. I will put labels on these because I'm filming it for the vlog. I'll be right back. Okay, I bought these dissolvable labels on Amazon. So sweet pickle, magnolia. What is it today? May something? May 9th, 2024. I should have said this before, but most varieties of magnolia, petals only, the flowers only are edible. What I did was, this is not super scientific. Again, you got to be okay with what you eat. But I did an image search of the flowers on our tree, and I think it's a Magnolia liliflora or a lily magnolia, which are definitely edible. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is work on the asparagus. Firstly, I want you to feast your eyes on this beautiful asparagus. Okay, so I have obviously cut these to length. I have 2 tall jars for the most dramatic presentation. And then in the bottom of each jar, I have a half a shallot sliced really thinly. Obviously you could use onion or omit this entirely, but I think the shallot is going to be really pretty. Then you're supposed to put garlic cloves. I don't have any. What I have is the squeeze bottle. So I'm just gonna squeeze a blob of garlic in that. So now so that's what I have is garlic and shallot in the bottom. And then I'm just gonna pack the jar with the asparagus. Okay, so as we can see, I did a perfect job cutting them to length. Okay, take 2 asparagus in the jar. And then, I don't know why, but when I was a kid and was forced to pickle and preserve food, we always put the dill on the top of the jar. We didn't put it in the bottom with the other stuff. Dill goes in the top. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if there's a reason for this. I love dill, but I'm only gonna put a limited amount in here because I only have a limited amount and I wanna make a cucumber salad later. Okay, so I've packed the top with dill and then I'm gonna put in some black peppercorns, like that many. If you don't have peppercorns to put in your pickle, obviously black pepper is just as good. However, whole peppercorns are gonna have like a more subtle pepperiness. If you're using ground pepper, consider using a lot less. Unless you really love pepper, then go for it, man. Like, do what you do. So now, because I've cut off all the stems to cut these to length, I'm gonna make a second jar with all stems. I'm even putting in these nubbins that I cut off to make those, to make the fancy ones to length. Look, you eat this in front of the TV, there's plenty of opportunities for this. Don't let it go to waste. What about like a pickled asparagus relish? What about it? I mean, have you ever thought of that? So this one, suitable for gifting or company. This one, just for you, baby. Well, close friends. Another thing is that these jars are not packed super tight. This is the asparagus I have at the time that I have to pickle it. Guess what? I can just add more. These are narrow and tender asparagus. I maybe wouldn't do this with, you know, sometimes you go to the store and you get ones that are as big as tree trunks. Don't do it with those. Those are gonna need to be blanched. Okay, so the brine for the asparagus I have is 1 cup of water, 1 cup of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of salt. Voila. I doubled it. It may not actually be enough here. So I just wanted to say something about salt, using salt for pickling. If you have a sea salt or a pink salt or some other non-treated salt. That's the best thing to use for pickling. Sometimes table salt has anti-cake stuff in it that can make it cloudy. That's all. I mean, it'll taste fine. It'll just be cloudy. So if you're planning to give gifts or have make a pretty presentation of your pickles, you know, pick another salt. Most people have other fancy salt these days, don't they? I don't know. They sell it at TJ Maxx. That's where I get it. Also, if you're like, you know, hardcore, there's canning salt. Obviously, hardcore. I don't know if there's like some kind of hand signal for the pickle gang, but now I feel sad that there might be a hand signal that that they haven't told me about. So I'm filling with the brine. Oh, so close. Okay, so to do these two 21-ounce jars, I did 2 of the base recipes. So 2 cups of vinegar, 2 cups of water. I'm just a little short on this one. So my preference is a more pickly pickle. I love vinegary flavors. So in my case, I'm just gonna top this one that's a little bit low up with vinegar, call it good. If you like a milder pickle or like a half sour situation, then add more water. Okay, so this is what we've got. 2 jars of these beautiful magnolia flowers and 1 fancy jar of asparagus. So gorgeous. And 1, you know, perfectly imperfect jar of asparagus. But this is really pretty in its own way. Look how gorgeous. One thing about using the shallots, you could obviously use onion if that's what you have on hand, but the shallots are prettier. You could use red onion. You could argue red onion would also be pretty, but yes, it would be very strongly oniony, and that's not what I'm looking for here. So I would wait at least 2 days, but I would probably wait longer. You know, I want it to be right. Anyway, that is the end of my pickling video.